I want you to pause for just a second and really ask yourself, who are you?
I mean, the answer feels so obvious, right? It's simple. I'm me. I'm this person, in this body, with all my memories. I'm the one calling the shots, choosing what to do next. You know, I was here yesterday, I'm here today, I'll be here tomorrow. It feels like the most basic, fundamental fact of the entire universe.
But what if that super simple, super intuitive answer just completely falls apart the second you start poking at it? What if your body, your memories, even your choices, what if none of that is as solid as you think? That is the incredible puzzle we're diving into.
First things first, the paradox of change. Think about it. You feel like you're the same person you were when you were, say, 5 years old. But are you? Like really? In what way are you actually the same? So to really wrap our heads around this, we've got to look at this ancient, famous thought experiment. It's called the Ship of Theseus paradox. And honestly, it's the perfect way to start thinking about our own identity. Okay, picture this. You've got the legendary ship that belonged to the hero Theseus. Now, over the years, the wooden planks start to rot, so you replace them, one by one, until eventually there is not a single original plank left on that ship. So, here's the question. Is the ship sitting in the harbor today the same exact ship that Theseus sailed? I mean, it looks the same, it has the same name, but it's made of entirely new stuff. What is it that makes it the same ship?
Let's bring this back home. Let's talk about you. Because, the cells in your body, the very atoms and molecules, they're constantly being replaced. The person you are, right now, is made of almost completely different physical stuff than the kid you were at age 5. And it's not just your body. Your personality, your beliefs, your memories, they've all changed. So that brings us right back to the central question. What is the thread that connects you today to you back then? What makes you the same person through all that change?
Philosophers have a few theories on this. Some will tell you it's all about bodily continuity. As long as this living organism keeps going, that's you. Simple. Others say, no, it's about psychological continuity. Your memories, your personality, they create this kind of chain that links you through time. And then there's the idea that it's all about the brain. But like we just said, all of those things change too. So the puzzle just gets deeper.
So if our physical body isn't the solid anchor we thought it was, what about the thing that actually feels like us? Our consciousness. Let's go there next. Is that sense of you just what your brain is doing? This leads us straight into what philosophers and scientists call the hard problem of consciousness. See, we can map out all the wiring in the brain, we can watch neurons fire, track chemicals, those are the so-called easy problems. But the hard problem is this: why does all that physical activity feel like anything at all from the inside? Why isn't it all just happening in the dark? Why is there this rich, subjective, first-person movie playing in your head right now? The technical term for this is qualia. Qualia are those subjective qualities of experience. Think about the color red. Science can tell you everything about the wavelength of light and how your retina and brain process it, but it can't explain the actual private, internal experience of seeing red. That redness you experience? That's qualia. It's the what it's likeness of tasting chocolate, or feeling a cool breeze, or being you. And this whole thing boils down to a massive, fundamental question in neuroscience today. Is your brain a creator of consciousness, or is it a receiver? Is it like a factory churning out this experience from raw materials, or is it more like a radio, simply tuning into a broadcast that's already out there?
Let's look at these two models. On one hand, you have the brain as producer model. Think of it like a light bulb. It creates light. If you smash the light bulb, the light is gone, period. End of story. In this view, consciousness is just something the brain does. But then you have the brain as receiver model. This is more like a radio. If you damage the radio, yeah, the music might get staticky or go silent, but you haven't destroyed the radio station. The broadcast is still out there. The implications for which one of these is right, well, they're absolutely staggering.
So we've put the body on trial, we've questioned the mind. Now let's look at what you do, your actions. You feel like you're in the driver's seat, right? Making choices, deciding your path. But are you? Are you really?
This is where we hit a classic wall: determinism versus free will. The idea of determinism is pretty straightforward. It says that ever since the Big Bang, everything has just been one long, unbroken chain of cause and effect, dominoes falling, all governed by the laws of physics. And since your brain is a physical thing, your thoughts and decisions are just another domino in that line. That idea flies directly in the face of this incredibly powerful feeling we all have, the feeling of free will, the feeling that we're actually genuinely choosing.
And this whole debate got a huge jolt from neuroscience, thanks to the famous Libet experiments. What they discovered was, frankly, mind-bending. They had people hooked up to brain scanners and told them to just flick their wrist whenever they felt the urge. And what they found was that the brain activity for that movement started a fraction of a second before the person was consciously aware of having made the decision to move.
So this raises a really uncomfortable question, doesn't it? Did you choose to flick your wrist, or did your brain decide on its own, and then your conscious mind just kind of invented a story about making a choice after the fact to make sense of it all? Is that powerful feeling of being in control just an illusion? A story we tell ourselves?
Now, philosophers have tried to get out of this jam in a few different ways. You've got your hard determinists who just bite the bullet and say, yep, free will is an illusion, get over it. Then you've got libertarians who argue no way. Humans are special. We can actually start new chains of cause and effect, meaning the universe isn't totally determined. And then there are the compatibilists, who try to have their cake and eat it too. They say free will and determinism can coexist. We just need to redefine what free means. Trust me, there is no easy consensus here.
After all that, where are we? It might feel like we've just been tangled up in a bunch of modern scientific debates. But this search for the self, it's not new. Not at all. This is one of the oldest and most profound human quests there is. Just look across history. Ancient Egyptians believed in a complex, multi-part soul with concepts like the Ka and Ba. Ancient Indian philosophy talks about the Atman, this eternal, unchanging self. You go to ancient China, they had their own ideas about spiritual and corporeal souls. Even early Buddhism, which famously rejected the idea of a permanent, unchanging soul, still talked about a continuous stream of consciousness that carries on. This proves it, right? This isn't some newfangled problem. It is deeply, fundamentally human. In fact, get this. Over 90%, more than 90% of all human societies we have ever studied, and many of these cultures developed in total isolation from each other, they all independently came up with some kind of belief in a non-physical self or an afterlife. Now think about that. That's either a coincidence of cosmic proportions, or it's a universal feature of how our brains are wired, or it's pointing to something real and fundamental about the nature of our experience.
And that really brings our whole journey full circle. We started with a simple question, who are you? And we've seen how that simple idea gets complicated by a body that's always changing, a mind whose very existence is a mystery, and a sense of will that might not be what it feels like.
For all our incredible scientific progress, the fundamental nature of consciousness, what it actually is, where it comes from, that remains a completely open question. It is a genuine, unsolved mystery at the absolute frontier of human knowledge. And anyone who tells you they have the final answer, well, they probably don't.
After you peel back all of these layers, the physical stuff of your body, the memories that change and fade, what's left? What is the essential core that remains? Who or what are you?